many of you. I've met many of you before. I've presented here a few times. And so my name is Iain Gillott. Larry, I did something last summer, that. And Larry said, hey, come and talk about that. So I'm I guess I'm the entertainment. I'm the reprieve between the telecom. I'll mention telecom like 3 times in this, but that's it. So yeah, my daughter and I rode across the States. And I'm going to tell you about that. Now, one thing to note is we did a lot of blogs and promotion. iGR, my company, actually sponsored the whole thing. And then we raised money, which I'll talk about as well. I always called it Ian and Lauren's Ride Across America. And my daughter is a teacher in London. And at her school, she has a graphic design person who came up with our logo for us. And when the logo came out, it said Lauren and Ian's Ride Across America. So not how I viewed the world. But so yeah, so we go to the next slide. Next slide. Okay. Am I doing it here? Oh, okay. All right. So number one, so what I did was I did a blog as we went along. I took all the blogs at the end and put them into a book, and I added a bunch of photos. And a lot of people like this. I put an intro on it and an epilogue, and that book is on the website. So you can go download it. It's just a PDF. So if you go to igr-inc.com, the media center button is up on the top right. You click on that, it says Cycle Across the US. And on that page is the book. So that's what that link is down there. Why? This was not my idea. I cycle a lot. I mountain bike. I like camping. My daughter and I do a lot of stuff together. You tell people you're going to do this and like, you crazy? You're going to do what? But my daughter kind of shamed me into it. And she's 28, nearly 29. And basically she said, we've got to go do this. And I'm like, well, this is crazy. Why would I want to do this? And she said, well, if you don't do it, I'm going to go do it on I'm going to find somebody else to do it with. Right? She'd find a group, and I would hear about it for the rest of my life. So I looked at this as if I don't do it with her, I'm just going to be, hey, Dad, when I was in Montana on that trip, you didn't come on. Oh, Dad, when I was in North Dakota on that trip, you didn't come on. I mean, the pain of that, because we have a little competition going in our family, the pain of that would be greater than actually doing this and sitting on a bike. So that's why I had to do it. She gave me a book as well for my birthday in 2022, said, you can ride across America. I was like, but why would I want to? So final thing is, we decided if we're going to do it, we should raise some money for cancer research. My mother has CLL, leukemia, and she takes the drug every day. She's 80. She's taken it for 4 years. She pops a pill every day, and she has the best blood work of anybody in this room, including mine. She's in way better shape than my dad. And it is amazing to me that somebody can have leukemia and take a pill. It is a $14,000 a month pill. Thank you, Medicare. So we decided we should raise money for MD Anderson, who developed the drug. And that's what we did. MD Anderson, for those of you who don't know, is down in Houston. So, all right, how do I do this? There we go. All right. So number one, where did we go? This is us in the Puget Sound in Seattle. So basically, we flew from Seattle, from Austin up to Seattle. We put our wheels in the Puget Sound because you have to go coast to coast, right? Water to water. And then we took the Amtrak up to Mount Vernon in the north. We could have ridden it, but basically you're going straight up through all the traffic for 60 miles to get on the train. And then we started from there and went east. So you head Route 2, and Route 2 takes you through all of Washington, Idaho, and Montana. Man, we were sick of that road by the end. We went through Glacier National Park, and going to the Sun Road, if anybody doesn't know it, go look it up. Going to the Sun Road is a famous road. It goes from McDonald Lake up to the top of Logan's Pass. It was actually closed for construction. So the only way we could go up was to shuttle up. Well, thank God, because the thing is, at the top, it's steep and narrow. So we got shuttled up, and then we bombed down the other side. We had a tailwind, which was fantastic. Then we went into the eastern plains of Montana. Montana is a very big state. It is a long, thin state. Texas is basically square. Oklahoma's square, right? Montana's long and thin, and we went across the length of it. It's like, when are we going to get out of Montana? In North Dakota and into Minnesota. I'll talk about those in a minute. Then we went from Wisconsin. We actually went to Milwaukee and got the ferry across Lake Michigan. There's another ferry further north, but it was out of service. It got damaged. And then we got to Michigan, went beeline straight down through Michigan into Ohio, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and then into DC. And we finished at Annapolis, Maryland, and dipped our wheels in the Chesapeake Bay. So, and last point, doesn't that sound easy? It's like, oh yeah, that was easy, no problem. So the best bits, this is a very big, beautiful country. And I've been to every state before I did this ride. I'd spent a lot of time up in Washington. I've been to Montana. I've been to the Dakotas multiple times. When you're in a car, when you fly over it, you don't see anything, unless you're on a Alaskan Airlines Boeing, and you got a really good view. If you're in a car, you see a lot more. When you're on a bike, you see everything, right? And you smell it. So we saw a lot of stuff. We saw wild stallions in Montana at the side of the road, just running around. Cows all over the place, but we saw a lot of cool stuff. We met a lot of people. We had 4 people buy us lunch. We were sitting in a diner, and they'd see our shirts that you can see there with the same logo on, start asking us, and then just buy us lunch. We had a guy in Pennsylvania buy us drinks at a gas station. We were buying Cokes, and he just plopped down and said, "No, I'm buying it for his son. His son had died of cancer." We stayed at people's houses. There's a website for cyclists called Warm Showers, and it's like a pay it forward thing. You sign up for it. We stayed at a post office in Montana. It was 85 degrees outside, and the lady who ran it let us and another guy who was going west sleep in the post office in the convenience store that night. And we were sitting there having drinks and stuff, and we just left her some money and wrote a chit for what we owed her. But I don't know how many people have slept in a post office. Truck stops, we slept in a couple of truck stops. That's interesting. And Assumption Abbey in Richardton, North Dakota. I'd read about this place. There is a father there, brother. There's like 30 monks live there. It is in the middle of nowhere, and it is a beautiful abbey and church that was built at the turn of the 20th century, early 1900s, late 1800s. It's in Richardson, and they have a room just for cyclists. And I'd heard about it. I called them. We got the room. We had dinner with the monks. We had breakfast with the monks. It was fantastic. Really cool. We did not have any issues at all. So I've been cycling a long time. I've had people in pickup trucks run me off a road. People throw things at you. They shout at you because, they think the road is theirs, right? And we went 3,000 miles with all of that gear on the back of the bikes. We were carrying about 30 pounds. We were not fast. We were very slow up hills. And not one person tried to do anything stupid. Everybody was moving way out of the lane into the other side when they passed us. People waved to us. We had one guy in a pickup truck in Minnesota who was being an ass, and everybody around him waved to us, to ignore him. It was really cool. We had mechanical issues, things like that. I actually I have a pannier rack underneath here, and one of the legs broke in Montana. Lauren had the tools, and she was just ahead of me. Well, the wind, she couldn't hear me when I was shouting, because I needed the tools. Pull out the cell phone, no cell phone. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? She disappears down the road, round the corner. So I just flagged down the next truck, and these guys went past, turned around, came back, picked me up. And it were a couple of guys going hunting. They had their dogs in the back. We threw the bike in the back of the bed and shot down the road and flagged her down. I would say these are probably people I probably wouldn't normally talk to. And they were great. They were great. So not one time, we knocked on people's doors to get water in the middle of nowhere. I always sent Lauren to do that because a 28-year-old girl with a ponytail is a lot less threatening than a 58-year-old grumpy guy. You always take your helmet off, hi, wave, we're normal. But we really had no issues whatsoever, which is amazing. The weather was good. We had 2 days of rain. We had wind, I'll talk about in a second, but we had 2 days of rain, and that was it. The rest of the time, it was pretty good. So what to avoid? The headwinds of North Dakota and Minnesota. That road, Highway 46, nightmare. We spent 11 freaking days with a headwind. Like, you get up in the morning, like, please, nope, another headwind. And you want to talk about demoralizing? Day 12, when it switched, it's like party central. The Chesapeake and Ohio Canal towpath is just what it says. It goes basically through Maryland up to the Ohio. It joins up to the Great Allegheny Pass, which is another old rail route. And this thing was supposed to be rideable for bikes. People said how great it was. Overgrown, not maintained, roots, rocks. It was brutal on the bikes. I had 3 punctures on it. It was dreadful. But canals can't go up and down hill. You have to have them graded, right? So beautiful grade. Can't complain about the hills, but everything else I'd complained about. And I miss my wife. I was out for 46 days. The last 2 weeks were really tough. She was traveling to start with. When she was away, I was okay. When she was back and I knew she was in Austin, and I'm still on my bloody bike, I was like, it was hard. We've been married 32 years. We'd never been apart for more than, I think, 2 weeks. So final statistics. That's actually the route we actually took. And you can see it's pretty direct. We stayed north because we wanted to keep it cooler as we could. And it was still in the 90s. We did 3,085 miles. We had 46 days on the road. We had a rest day in Minneapolis. We took 1 day off. Some days we did 40 or 50 miles. They were easy days. We only finished by lunchtime. Most days we were going 6 and 7 hours. We averaged 68.5 miles a day, and we're carrying all our gear. The longest day was 90 miles. We never reached 100. And a lot of people reach 100 miles in the Dakotas because they get a tailwind and you can fly. We didn't have that, and that's why we only did the 90. We camped out 18 days. The rest of the time we're in motels, hotels, people's houses. We were riding for 253 hours and we averaged 12 miles per hour, and we climbed 87,000 feet over that time. So Everest is 26,000 feet. Easy. I lost 30 pounds. I've put back about 20. I got home, and as a photo of me in a minute, I was really skinny. I was malnourished. We were burning, I worked out, I was burning an extra 3,000 calories a day. And I was telling Steve earlier, by the end of it, you deplete a little bit every day. You can't sleep enough to recover. And at the end, we were just beat. We were absolutely beat. I got home and I probably put 5 or 10 pounds on really quickly because I was hungry. We didn't carry our food. We ate as we went along. So diners, we go to grocery stores, etc. And we raised over 27,000 for MD Anderson. iGR, as I said, paid all the expenses. So that 27,000 went straight in. A lot of you here donated, which I thank you for. But all of that money went to MD Anderson, which is good. We were actually one of their top fundraisers for the year. And they've actually put us in the magazine. And my mother went to the website once, and there's a picture of Lauren and I, that one from Logan Pass, on their website. We're like, what? So that was us when we got back. Lauren's usually pretty skinny. Her abs aren't usually that defined. but I was skinny. I mean, I was like, you know, when I got back, and not now. And the other thing is Lauren looks like a, you know, she was suntanned. She rode in a sports bra for most of the trip, which got the truckers going. But she had this really even suntan, right? I wore a jersey. I've had some skin cancer stuff, so I was pretty careful. I was covered in 100 SPF all day long. So my suntan looks like, in the book I said I looked like Stevie Wonder had attacked me with a can of brown paint. So I was like tanned on my calves, but not on the inside, just on the outside, you know, and stuff like this. I look pretty weird when I got back. So look at that, 15 minutes. So any very quick questions? Anybody want to do it? I'd encourage you. Really, it's a great country. Yeah.
When we talked to you last year, you were talking about visiting a bunch of cell sites on this trip.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see any cell sites at all?
Yeah, we did. So this is actually, thank you. I should have mentioned it. So I did take photos of cell sites as I went. So the IRS wanted me to do some work. I checked my emails. I did do some work. I only responded to things I had to. I basically took 7 weeks off work, which is, I would highly recommend. But what I discovered, and Lauren was fascinated by this, I'd be going up a hill and like, yeah, we're nearly at the top. How do you know? You can't tell. Well, look, I said, there's a cell site right there. Cell sites are always on top of the biggest hill. So when the road's going up and you can see a cell site, you know it's a mile away or half a mile away. We saw some pretty interesting disguises. I can't know what you call it, stealth, right? Some were more successful than others. But the coverage, yeah. I know Roger said there was Verizon has 99% spectrum coverage or something. The networks are nowhere close. We did have a satellite beacon with us. I have one for the mountains when I go mountain biking. So I've got a button to push for SOS. And we had that with us just in case, but we didn't need it. But yeah, we saw, it's amazing how many places you can go where there is nothing. And I mean, nothing. So, yeah.
Now that it's winter time, are you ready to take the southern route?
No. So we met a guy on the way. You meet a lot of people on the road. We met a couple of people going west like we were, but we saw more people coming east as you think about it. You know, you're going ahead. And we'd always stop and chat, right? We met this guy and he was doing his 4th time across the US. I'm like, why? I mean, we did the short route, right? We went, a lot of people go, you know, we went down to Annapolis here. A lot of people go up into Maine, right? And that's like 4,500 miles, another 1,500 miles. And we were like, why? And the southern route, which Mary Ellen's talking about, is this way, which is actually short as well. But I was like, no. What I do want to do is the west coast of the US, the border with Canada down to the border of Mexico on the west coast. You basically follow Highway 1. It's about 20 to 25 days, which to me sounds great, right? I can lose some weight. It's kind of going to be pretty. My son lives in San Francisco. I can stop and see him. And I won't have to be away from my wife for 6 or 7 weeks. And I won't feel like crap at the end. But yeah, so no, not rushing again. Done that. Been there, done that. All right. Thank you.
Thanks a bunch, Ian.